The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfatsion from talkSPORT.
Hello and welcome to the S Word. We've been going for about a month or so now with this show, but for the first time ever, we are available on Tubi, on Apple Podcast, on Spotify Podcast in video form. I'm Will Gavin, Master Tesfatsion alongside me, and it's 2 days until the World Cup.
2 days till the World Cup, 48 hours. We are finally at the doorstep of what should be the biggest World Cup of all time. Thankfully, enough of the talking. Let's get to ball, baby.
If it's your first time ever tuning into the show, we are presented by talkSPORT. Big brand for football here, soccer here in the UK, but we are branching that gap across the pond between our US brothers, those many, many soccer fans who deserve a show like this, and the UK here. Myself and Master bringing it to you every day, 7 days a week during the World Cup. And whilst it's actually going to be Olly Clink alongside Master for the show today, big show coming up.
Yeah, it is. I think you were trying to avoid the smoke because I'm looking forward to this. We follow the trends on social media, and everyone's talking about, who has the best stadiums, whether it's the US or the UK. Me and Ollie debate our top 5 US versus UK stadiums, and I have been waiting for this argument.
Love that. They're also going to talk about the USMNT, their chances at this World Cup, and the latest on the Somalian referee who was stopped from going into the US. And all of that, plus Jon Cotterill is going to look at whether Argentina have a chance at repeating and being the first back-to-back World Cup winners since Brazil in 1962. Enjoy the show.
Talking of loud and abrasive Americans, I'm joking, of course, but I am delighted to say that joining us now is Mike Ryan Ruiz, the host of New World Cup podcast, Morally Abhorrent. Mike, how you doing?
We got to give an applause. We give an applause to our guest.
Appreciate that. Has Master sufficiently apologized for American existence enough, or do I have to come in and make you guys feel better about everything?
We're trying our best. We're trying
Master,
our best.
God bless you. Like, this is a hell of a gig that you signed up to apologize for Americans every day. There is nothing. There's 2 things that I know the English love: a mediocre white midfielder and Americans apologizing for themselves.
Have you come for Elliot Anderson within the first 2 minutes, Mike?
Oh, dude. Look, I used to work with Chelsea. I remember the Mason Mount Christian Pulisic discourse, okay? Look. It's not popular over here either. We're sorry. It sucks. We know. Look at the approval ratings. We probably hate it more than you do. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Mike, firstly, I've got to ask you about the name of your podcast, Morally Abhorrent. Why?
Well, it was when the Qatar World Cup rolled around and everybody was morally conflicted. And back then, I actually thought we had the moral high ground. And then 4 years later, we wanted to reheat the concept. And I'm like, well, I don't think we can really change the name because I don't think we got a moral leg to stand on. So that's why Morally Abhorrent has stuck around.
I love that. And just tell us a bit more about the show. What guests can we expect? I know that obviously Master joined you, I think, on your last show. Tell us what we can expect from the show.
Yeah, Master joins us on an episode that is dropping today in the main feed of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz, a big podcast here in the United States, and on our YouTube page, youtube.com/Le Batard Show. An occasional cadence. We're doing a lot of preview stuff, but obviously with an American prism, we're going to be live reacting to U.S. soccer performances. And as the tournament goes on, we'll spring into action when the big news breaks and there's storylines to discuss.
Obviously, check the podcast out. You absolutely have to. You can skip the one with Master on, obviously, but
hey! I gave some takes.
Master and I preview all of the match day ones across the entire tournament, and Master, you'd be surprised about this, knows his stuff.
Oh, no surprise at all.
Somehow we had something to talk about the Iran, New Zealand. So that's how Uzbekistan got some love. It just,
love it. I absolutely love it.
It's for the sickos.
And them boys.
Come on.
Listen, Mike, tell us about your thoughts then ahead of this World Cup. We're 2 days away. How are you feeling about Team USA? How do you think they're going to get on? We've just had Master. I think you've got a bit of that World Cup optimism now, haven't you?
It's in my veins. I think that Anthony Robinson goal is kind of all right. I think we can win this group, Mike.
I think we can win the group too. I was hoping for some optimism heading into the World Cup because U.S. soccer fans have kind of done a 180. We've embarrassed ourselves with our delusion in previous generations, and the last couple World Cups, we all kind of think we suck now. And I think it's a good indicator of how far along U.S. soccer fans have come, because I think we were a little delusional about our prowess on the international scene. This has been such a herky-jerky process in this ramp up for the World Cup, being that we didn't play qualification matches. I think Pochettino took a lot of weird risks and chances in this weird data mining stretch that he was taking, and we'll see if it pays off. One thing about the U.S., they're going to be versatile, and it seems as though Pochettino wanted a bunch of options available to him, not just from formations, but the individual players alone. They can play a lot of different positions, so optionality is the name of the game for the U.S. Still not my preference. I'm old school. I think the U.S. is always historically at its best as a counterattacking team that uses its athleticism and cashes in on the few opportunities it can generate throughout a game. But we'll see. We're trying to play with the big boys. I don't like how that works out typically. It usually sees us dropping points to Panama. But I do think that we'll get into the knockout stages. And then when you're a host nation, as we've seen with Russia and Germany in 06, funny things can happen when you have that host energy juice behind you, provided that FIFA allows us to have enough fans in there to feel the support.
I've tried to warn them about Panama, Mike. I'm doing my best, but they still think that's a layup. They think that's 3 points in the bag, but they
got no idea.
They have no idea. They have no idea. England has no idea what they have waiting for them.
Beat them 6-1 in 2018, mate. It's fine.
Not
bothered about it. Yeah, hats off to them when they beat us. What do you think would be considered a successful tournament then, Mike? You're both saying that you're going to win the group. So how far should you be getting for everyone to turn around and say, fair play, good tournament, happy with that as host?
Well, I think the last few incarnations of this tournament, we've all fantasy booked. Man, we can play England on July 4th. How amazing would that be? How amazing would it be if the United States can make it to July 4th weekend and have a huge soccer event behind them? So I think getting out of the month of June would be a success for this program. Look, the performance against Senegal had me feeling optimistic. I actually preferred the performance against Germany because there was a bad mental lapse early on. But I think for long stretches of that game, the U.S. was kind of taking it to Germany. Maybe we have to be a little bit more clinical in the final third, no doubt. But I'm hopeful, and I'm so grateful that I have a reason to hope, because before that Senegal game, I was like, man, just get this whole thing over with. And when the vibes are already toxic because of everything that's going on in the nation, you're hoping that sport can galvanize you for just the moment of that match, and I'm hopeful we'll get that.
The one question I have, and it's hard for me to understand until I get to LA and I'm at this match, the opener against USA Paraguay. We've seen it in the Olympics. We've seen it with USA basketball. When it is an international competition and it's USA versus the world, regardless of what's going on, the Americans can get behind it. Will we see that same sentiment this summer with this World Cup? Will the Americans, the casuals, the generic Americans, will they get behind the United States in this World Cup?
Yes. I have recent history as my guide. Look, the Winter Olympics were loaded. It wasn't exactly a great time around here, but the nation got behind that hockey team. And even when you were trying to actively avoid politics, a lot of politicians were trying to make that political. It's funny, given the whole Kaepernick discussion and that side of the aisle here, but they gravitate to sports when convenient, when they need normalizing, because none of this is normal. And yet, most sports fans still pushed on, pushed through, and rooted for the red, white, and blue, even when many of the players themselves kind of co-signed this administration. So I do think this goes beyond the scope of politics here. USA all the way. Even Freedom 250, the 250th birthday of this nation. I'm sure the English have some feelings about that. I'm still doing the banter thing.
That's great.
Still doing the American Revolution banter thing.
Keep it going. 250 years.
You got to wear that out. You got to wear that out forever.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
But it's hard to get behind that. You don't feel yourself super patriotic because you are not proud of your country. I'm nodding along at Ian Wright's video. You're right. We botched this. There's no making up for this. It took 30 years to get one of these things back, and I don't know if I'll ever see one again in this country. So this is a forever problem that we're going to have here. But I do hope that there are some individual moments where players rise above that and bring a nation together, even if it's just for a fleeting moment.
Mike, thank you so much.
Where can we find a podcast?
On the Levitard Show feed, the Dan Levitard Show with Stu Gotts, wherever you get your podcasts. Morley Abhorrent is also a video property, so youtube.com/@Levitard Show is where you find us. Here in the States, we're on YouTube TV on NBC Sports and DraftKings Sports Network and HBO Max. So we got a lot of partners over there. And once again, I am so sorry for the existence of the United States of America. I will give you 8 pounds of flesh here. Just leave Master alone for a day. Maybe tomorrow, maybe kickoff day. Let it be Mexico Day.
Wait, Mike, later on in the show, we're debating top 5 U.S. versus U.K. stadiums. So trust me, I'm here. I'm here for the war when it comes to.
I am so sick of someone that, watches a bunch, and God bless him, I love Leyton Orient, but someone that goes to like a poured concrete venue where you get a hot dog that's been on a roller for 8 months telling me that, where the Atlanta Falcons play is.
Don't you dare come for Brisbane Road, Mike. Don't you dare. What a venue that is.
It's just, come on.
Who's having a hot dog as well? It's a pie all the way.
There's a Chick-fil-A inside the stadium.
Look,
there's a Chick-fil-A in the stadium.
We love misery.
You can knock our president. Why. You can knock the visas. You can knock the ticket prices. you can knock a lot of things that's going on in America right now. You cannot knock our stadium infrastructure and our stadium atmosphere.
No, I'm going in 2 foot.
There's a line that has been crossed here, Mike, and I have to defend America today.
Yeah.
God bless you, Pastor.
Mike,
doing the Lord's work.
Mike, thanks very much indeed.
The S Word, featuring Will Gavin and Master Tesfatsion, and a squad of big-name contributors. The S Word from talkSPORT. Around here, we only use the F word. talkSPORT presents the S Word.
Hello, welcome back to the S Word on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. I'm Olly Clink, in for Will Gavin today alongside Master Tesfatsion. We've got a huge debate on the way because it has been going mad on social media. talkSPORT's Rory
no
Jennings
reason whatsoever
has got involved. Unlike
English
him,
arrogance once again is filling the airwaves and social media with absolute nonsense.
Well, let's get into it then, shall we?
Nonsense.
The debate has been around where is better to watch football, UK stadiums or US stadiums. Obviously, we've got this World Cup coming up.
The argument, we got to broaden out. It was more so about the facilities and the stadiums. Who has better stadiums, the United States or the United Kingdom? And I'm sorry, you guys have crossed the line. You guys have crossed the line in thinking that somehow, some way, your obstructed view stadiums that you have had for over 150 years are somehow better than the greatest stadium infrastructure that any nation has ever created since the Colosseum.
Yeah, but mate, that word infrastructure, that sends me to sleep immediately. You can talk about how structurally sound, how wonderfully beautiful, how aesthetically pleasing all these SoFi stadiums, etc. They are soulless bowls, mate. Where's the character? Where's the charm? Where's the history?
We have the wide variety.
No, mate, come on. Where is standing on the terraces when your team's 4-0 down in the driving rain at Turf Moor? I would rather be there than any of your US stadiums.
You don't mean
any
that.
of them.
Again, you guys love misery, but you've never experienced when the doors open at AT&T Stadium and you spent $10 in the watching decks on each side of the end zone with 2,000 random people swarming to find their spot, and you're just enjoying random pints of beer with the greatest Cowboys fans that you can come across, chanting and screaming and yelling throughout the course of 3 hours. You have not experienced that.
Yeah, where's that come from? The away end? Oh, no, wait, they don't exist.
No, we don't. You know why? Because we don't fight each other. We don't fight each other.
That is why our stadiums are better.
Let's be honest. I mean, we do have fights at these stadiums. I do retract that. But we at least can control ourselves to sit next to our opponents and talk trash during the course of a game where you guys are so immature and so unwilling to be able to sit someone wearing a different shirt than you are at a stadium, to the point where Selhurst Park is willing to make sure that only season ticket holders can buy tickets to the final match because they are so concerned with Arsenal fans swarming throughout their entire stadium in neutral colors.
Yeah, and they should be, because stadiums are part of the cultural fabric of so many cities across the UK. They are,
you're right. Same in the US.
They are symbolic of the pride that people have in their city. That's why they're so important. It means that when you go away, you are in their backyard and you know about it, and that's what makes goals and 3 points so much more special. And the thing about UK stadiums is They're perfectly imperfect. That's why we love them. We love the fact that there is a pillar there that's going to obstruct your view
No, you
for the
don't.
rest of the second
No,
half.
you don't
We
like
love
that.
that
You don't.
It's decades old
No one
slabs
likes
of
missing
concrete.
action.
We love it because it's
No,
where
you
you make
don't.
memories.
No.
It's where you make memories, and they can be
You can
miserable
make
ones and
memories
they
with
can
a
be good
better
ones.
view. I'm sorry. You can make this nostalgia of having a terrible view as you're looking around on both sides of the pole. I've done this at Goodison Park. I've done this at Selhurst. I've done this at all these stadiums. I'm sorry. Like, it's part of the experience, I'm sure, but it is an inefficient aspect of the experience that you guys are so willing to hold on to when you'd much rather have a unobstructed view of the squad and the club that you love to watch.
Yeah, do you know why? Because there's no soul in that.
No,
there's no charm. There's no character. There's nothing.
We have more charm and character in our high school stadiums than you guys do in half of the Premier League
Nonsense.
stadiums. No, it's not.
Absolute nonsense.
No, it absolutely
no way.
isn't.
No way. But actually, you mentioned Goodison Park there. You mentioned, and we're going to rank our stadiums in just a moment, the best UK ones and the best US ones. But you mentioned Goodison Park there. I bet you almost every single Everton fan that is old enough will sit there and go, it was time to move on, but I miss Goodison Park. You ask any Tottenham fan in their beautiful new stadium who's old enough to have been at White Hart Lane. Yes, it's great here now. But if they don't say that some part of them misses White Hart Lane for what it represents, then they're liars. You ask any Arsenal fan, do they miss Highbury? Of course they do. And that's because of the history involved, the heritage involved.
Congrats on having an old stadium. You create new history in the new stadiums. I went
Those
to
fans will tell you.
I went to
that
Everton.
For a long time,
I went to Everton. I've been to Everton for Goodison Park, and I was there for the final home match at Hill Dickinson. I literally asked Everton fans that, and they said the turning point was their home match against Chelsea. That's when they truly felt like Hill Dickinson was home. And I'm sorry, the nostalgia is fantastic, and I appreciate history more than the next person does, but Hill Dickinson is an incredible venue and probably the best venue that this country has to offer. And if it's not on your list, it is absolutely ridiculous.
But just before we rank them, it's something that Arsene Wenger used to talk about. It's one of his favourite things about English football is the fact that you could walk through a street of terraced houses and at the end, out pops a beautiful structure. And that's where people go every single weekend to watch their favourite team and be proud of their city. And I think the difference here is, I think Americans look at stadiums as venues, and I think British people look at them as home. And look, we would all love to have grown up in a mansion with 7 bedrooms and a garage full of cars.
I grew up in Section 8.
But actually, what do we love? We love the shaggy carpet in the living room. We love the 80s curtains because it feels like home.
I do not
and
miss
that is
Section 8.
why
I'll tell you that much.
they are better.
I do not miss the cockroaches in Section 8.
Okay, we're going to rank them now. Let's start with our number 5. So you go first with your US stadiums.
Okay.
And I want to hear this. Here we go. I won't have heard of any of this.
This is an unfair fight. I'm just going to be honest with you. This is an unfair fight. The way I'm viewing this is like when Arsenal goes to visit a League One side in the FA Cup. So what do? They rotate. And they bring in their academy kids.
Unbelievable.
So I'm going to our academy, which is our high school level, because our high school stadiums dwarf high school stadiums.
So not even college?
No, not even college. You guys do, again,
This is insulting.
I'm looking eye to eye with
This is unbelievable.
what the UK has to offer. And I'm sorry, eye to eye level is high school stadiums in America is the equivalent of the stadiums that you guys have to offer for the majority of the FA system.
But this is the point. Here. We don't care about the infrastructure too much. We don't really care about how many people
Yeah. You've said
there.
this time and time again. Whatever. We're going to Allen, Texas, where Allen High School plays, and the stadium is called Eagle Stadium. Okay, this stadium changed the entire dynamic and infrastructure of high school stadiums across the country. 18,000 seats. You want to talk about atmosphere? 18,000 seats. How many of these Premier League stadiums can even fit 18,000 people, let alone League One, League Two, and these other stadiums that you mentioned? 18,000 seats. It costed the city of Allen $60 million. It is complete with high definition video boards. It has a wonderful press box that dwarfs some of these press boxes that you guys see in the Premier League. Since you are journalists, I know you love your good press boxes and your beautiful views. Allen High School provides provides that. They also have hospitality options, a beautiful pitch that is a field turf that they have. The amenities are wonderful, and Allen High School continues to win time and time again. They've won a ton of state championships, home to players like Kyle Murray. The atmosphere there is tremendous, and they sell that thing out every single Friday with some of the best
18,000. Woo!
Oh, that
Brilliant.
That for you guys, that'd be good enough for
Brilliant.
UEFA Stadium. That could host a conference league. That could host a conference league final.
Talking about.
What do you got as number 5?
Talking about Elland Road. Elland Road, proper stadium. Saw success back in the late 60s, early 70s under Don Revie. You look at those Leeds fans in there. I sometimes question whether there are actual seats in that stadium because it is just a melee of people, the limbs when they score. It is absolutely fantastic. And one of my favourite things is on the hoardings, it's sponsored by Flamingo Land. And that sums it up.
Yeah, it does,
it's
right?
gritty. You don't want to go there. The atmosphere is intimidating. Under the lights at Leeds, no thank you. What you got at number 4?
Is that why it's owned by Americans, right? And also, what they're about to do.
They'll ruin it.
They're about to do renovations on this.
They'll
for
ruin it.
£150 million. That's going to be due in 2030. You talking about that stadium, right?
They'll ruin it.
No, they're going to make it better so they can generate more revenue.
They'll ruin it.
That's what you think. Number 4, again, you haven't truly experienced the beauty of college football. Again, I wanted to look eye to eye with you with high school, okay? Now I'm looking past you. I'm looking beyond what you have to offer in this country. And I am going with Tiger Stadium. I am going with Death Valley in LSU, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It is the home of 102,000 fans. You want to talk about you ever walk alone? And sure, it's a great atmosphere, but have you ever seen 102,000 screaming LSU fans after they just spent 7 hours in the parking lot making some of the best gumbo you've ever had in your life, drinking some of the finest beer that Louisiana has to offer, and they go in at once in stadiums with seats that have more seats, and some of these cities have people and populations, and they go in there and they create one of the best atmospheres that you will experience across any sport. And if you do not believe me, go ask Will Gavin, because he's been there before and he will tell you time and time again. That is a place that he vividly remembers and wants to revisit. If he could, he would love to go back to
I'll ask Will Gavin. Don't trust a word that man says. That's the problem there.
That is a deafening atmosphere. You think Ellen Road is loud? You've never been to Tiger Stadium. You've never been to Tiger.
Go back
Yeah,
to
it is.
There's
Have you
no
been there?
way
Have
in.
you been there?
There's no way.
Have you been there?
How do you generate a proper intimidating atmosphere with no way in?
With 102,000 people. 100. What? Ellen Road has what? 37, 48, something like that. What does it have?
And I'll bet you it's a better atmosphere. Right, we need to rattle through these. Let's go for my number 4, the City Ground, right on the banks of the Trent. When that place gets going, when they sing Mull of Kintyre before that game. And what you'll notice here is the difference. You're speaking about seats. I'm speaking about atmosphere. You're talking about pre-match gumbo. I'm talking about it being an intimidating place to go. That is why the atmosphere is so special. That is why these stadiums are huge. What's your number 3?
But you've, again, a place with 47,000 people is more intimidating than 102,000 people. I find that incredibly hard to believe. Number 3. You know what? I'll go to a place, and I'm going to change my schedule right now because you want to keep talking about atmospheres and all that good jazz. I'm going to take you to the Big House. We are going to Michigan. Why is that? Because we're talking 107,000 people. It is the Western Hemisphere's largest stadium. So much so that all this talk about Old Trafford and Manchester United and the biggest club in the world, where you know where the most people that have ever watched a Manchester United match happens to be at the Big House. 108,000 people watched a friendly between Manchester United and Real Madrid.
A friendly.
A friendly. We have better atmospheres for a friendly with 108,000 people than you could at the Premier League. At the Big House. We sold out 108,000 people right now.
Are you joking?
The Big House is an unbelievable atmosphere, and it showed in a friendly what it was capable of doing to this day that has not been topped by the biggest club in the world. Give me the Big House, Michigan State.
That is nonsense. That is nonsense. There's no way there was a better atmosphere for a friendly. I've never heard anything as ridiculous as that.
It's 108,000 people.
Right, you talked about Death Valley. My number 3 is the Valley, which I know that a lot of American fans won't have heard of. Charlton Athletic Stadium, the Valley. Because when you turn up to that stadium, you look at it, it's got charm, it's got creaky turnstiles, it's got character, and you go in, And what you don't know is just how big it's going to be once you get in there. It's this array of beautiful red seats. It's wonderful. It's a hidden gem, I think, of English football. So I'm going to go with the Valley at Charlton.
He says you don't know how big it's going to be. It's a stadium with 27,000 people. There are high schools that are bigger than that.
27,000 passionate people.
Okay, passionate people. Okay, as if Friday Night Lights doesn't have passionate people. They made a whole show about Friday Night Lights. You're bragging about how big a stadium is now? Is that the direction you're going in? Because all of a sudden you were talking about the size and the seats don't matter, and now you're bragging about a 27,000 seat stadium. By all means, I want to take you to number 2. I'm taking you to College Station, okay? You're 27,000. You can take that, you can wipe it with it, and you can take it somewhere else because Kyle Field and Texas A&M is the best atmosphere that you will find in college football. 102,000 people packed this place to the brim, and it is the most cultish college football environment that you will find, complete with their own yell chants. They at midnight, the day before a match, they gather in that stadium, the fans do, and they rally each other up with a different chants that they will sing later on. I will not, because I am not a Texas A&M fan. I do not care about Texas A&M. In fact, I have grown up hating Texas A&M. But I respect Texas A&M because when I went there to go watch Texas A&M versus Miami, it was an experience that I still have yet to find.
What did the Miami fans sing when they were in there?
Go Canes.
Yeah. How many were there?
You don't know about Miami, do you? You don't know about the Miami Hurricanes, do you? You thought you were really dissing me there, but you have not experienced a Miami Hurricanes game, have you? You've never experienced a Miami Tailgates game.
At Miami.
At Miami?
Yeah, so not at the stadium you were just talking about.
I'm talking about Kyle Field. Yes, it was a game, Texas A&M versus Miami at Kyle Field, 102,000 people. I'll pull up a video later on for you so you can see the yells and the chants that they do that literally bring chills to your spine as I showed Lucy and Gabs right before the show. You will not beat the atmosphere at Kyle Field regardless of where you go across this earth. It is one of the best environments that you will ever find. And again, you want to brag about an atmosphere of 27,000 people? By all means, that's fine. I think that's maybe the upper deck at Kyle Field. I've seen it there with 106,000 people. They have trademarked the 12th man. All this talk about the 12th man and all these different things that you hear across all different sports across the world. This is the literal home of the 12th man. Kyle Field, unbelievable environment.
Right, okay. My number 2 is a fantastic stadium. talkSPORT's very own Adrian Durham put it at the top of his list. It's in the Championship. It's Queen's Park Rangers, Loftus Road. When you walk out to go to that press box, you're immediately met by a huge sign that says the Stan Bowles stand. And that immediately transports you to images from the 60s. Stan Bowles, a great flair player back in the day for Queen's Park Rangers and for England. What a fantastic footballer. And this is what I mean about the heritage of some of these places. You'll notice here that I haven't gone for the likes of Anfield, the likes of even Ibrox or Villa Park. And those get honourable mentions, of course they do. But actually it's the experience of the away fan going to these games and going to these iconic little grounds in the middle of little terraced houses, and this one in West London. That is what makes them so special. What's your number 1?
Tiger Stadium was built in 1924. Kyle Field was built in 1927. The Big House Michigan Stadium, again, you can brag about all the history you want to, and you're talking about the 60s and stuff. I'm telling you stadiums that were literally built in the 1920s. 1927.
Yeah, but
Michigan
constantly renovated. They lose their charm.
No, it doesn't. It gets bigger, and the crowds get bigger because the demand is still there. Everyone wants to see it. The experience is there. Maybe you guys experience that with all the tourists that come in to watch.
Craven Cottage has a stand that would have been built when Theodore Roosevelt was the American president. And it's still there.
And that's the 1940s?
It's amazing.
Yeah, again, I'm talking 20 years before that. These cathedrals were built. Some of the biggest stadiums this world has ever seen were built. And these atmospheres, environments, not only are amazing outside the stadium, which again, English fans only like to show up 10 minutes before the game. They don't like to show up 2, 3 hours, 4 hours before the game. We can talk about that experience another time because you guys do not tailgate. With all due respect to the people that go to the pubs, and I enjoy the atmosphere in the pubs, but you guys do not have the same tailgating pregame experience that we have in America, and let alone the experiences in the stadiums and the infrastructures that we have. But I'm done talking about the past, okay? You're stuck in this past. You thought you can get me on a historical tip. You couldn't beat me there. You thought you can get me on
I've definitely beaten you there. That's nonsense.
I'm talking about stadiums in the 1920s. You have not beaten me in terms of historical relevance in stadiums.
Right, how many of those stadiums have features from the 1920s still there? Or even the 60s still there?
I just listed 3 of them. I just listed 3 of them.
Nonsense, though.
And you want to talk about size, and you're bragging about 20,000 seat stadiums, and I told you high school stadiums that have a similar spectrum in terms of size rise as some of these glorious stadiums that you love to talk about with obstructed views. I'm going to take you to the future, okay? Because I'm sick and tired about talking about the past. I'm going to take you to the future, and this is my favorite stadium in North America and probably my favorite stadium in the world. I'm taking you to Inglewood, California. Inglewood is always up to no good, and they have built a $5 billion stadium in SoFi that is literally the model that every single stadium right now in the United Kingdom is going to be built off of. SoFi Stadium is, to me, the best experience that you will find. I have been there for Rams games. I have been there for Chargers games. I have been there for the College Football National Championship game. I have been there for WrestleMania. And every single time I am there, I enjoy the transparent see-through roof that you see that brings in that beautiful sunshine that unfortunately you guys are deprived of in this country. And that's why you guys are always complaining about some random things every single day. And I also get to feel that beautiful unobstructed beach breeze because it is open across the entire stadium. And there's nothing better, my friend Ollie, and I hope you get to experience it before you pass away, that you get to experience a pint in your hand, being at SoFi Stadium with that beautiful glistening sun, that Southern California sun smacking you right on the face, and that beach breeze, that salty beach breeze, just whiffing right in front of your face as you get a nice little taste of that wind with a nice pint in your hand with some of your best mates chanting and screaming and yelling for whatever event is going on there, because that stadium to me is the best stadium
But Marcy,
this world has to
you've
offer.
proved my point, mate. You've proved my point. Because when I'm going to a stadium, I'm not going for the transparent see-through roof. I'm not going for the ocean breeze.
I mean,
I'm going to watch the football.
You're going to get rained
and
on?
I am going,
You're going to get rained on
create
at
an
Turf Moor?
atmosphere.
You're going to get rained on at Turf Moor? Is that,
Yes, I would rather go
you guys are
to
so
Turf
miserable.
Moor every day of the week.
That is so
every
miserable.
day of the
No,
week
you
than the
don't.
SoFi Stadium.
No, you would not.
because,
No, you would not.
Because it's got character
That-
and passion.
Sunshine and a beach breeze is also character and passion.
That is
You
what
can-
football is about.
you can
Tell
find-
me that I'm having a better time going and watching some friendly at the SoFi Stadium or watching my team score a last-minute winner in the Premier League.
They're playing a
at
World
Turf
Cup game
Moor.
there. Had they played a World Cup game at Turf Moor? Oh, no, they can't because it's not qualified to be hosting of a World Cup. So that's one thing that SoFi presents that a lot of these stadiums you just mentioned just
what?
cannot have to
They
offer.
play it at one of our other stadiums. And I tell you what, they would definitely play it at my number one, which, of course, as a Newcastle fan, is St James's Park.
Ugh.
The atmosphere that that place creates is unique. And you've talked about the fact that that SoFi Stadium would be the blueprint for a new stadium. I'm
As it
sure
is
it'd
for
be
Hill
the
Dickinson,
same.
as it is
I'm
for
sure it'd be
Tottenham.
right. Fine.
For whatever Emirates do with
fine.
their upgrades, absolutely.
Newcastle are one of those teams who are looking at plans to do that right now. And there's a reason why there's controversy about it. You would think that fans of any club would say, wow, brand new stadium. What, as good as that one over in the States? Yeah, absolutely. But I don't want it to happen because I would miss St James's Park. And the reason I'd miss it is because it feels like home, and it feels like home to so many people. And that is why UK stadiums are better than US stadiums.
I've been to St. James's Park. I love the atmosphere there. It is an absolute eyesore to look at, and I promise you.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Sooner rather than later, that stadium's going to come
What are
down.
you talking about, eyesore?
Enjoy every single second you have in that stadium, because at some point you will find your multi-billion-dollar stadium, and I promise you, you're going to enjoy whatever comes next from St. James's Park, respectfully.
I won't. I won't enjoy it as much of the memories I've had at that stadium. I'll tell you that for free.
Not a lot of trophies you've seen there.
Yeah. hey, we've had one, mate. We've had
Alexander
one.
Isak, right? Isak up down.
It's the show for people who love football in North America. And I mean the proper kind, where you only use your feet. The S Word from talkSPORT. From the touchline to the terraces, talkSPORT presents the S Word.
Welcome back to the S Word. I'm Olly Clink. I'm alongside Master Tesfatsion. Do you know what? During that commercial break, I actually turned to Master and I went, I'm really enjoying my debut. I'm really enjoying the show. Completely blanked. He's that fuming about UK stadiums being better than US stadiums that he's not even talking to me.
I am preparing for this segment.
All he's thinking about is Chick-fil-A's.
Is top of the hour? Is that what we're on?
And it's in the soulless bowls that are US stadiums.
Don't even start. I've got some elementary school stadiums that have better atmospheres than some stadiums here.
Yeah, I might bring up some elementary. No, I won't. No, I won't. They're just fields.
I've been to those academy stadiums. I stood with the parents. It's not much of an atmosphere.
Right, it's time now to look at last year's winners of the World Cup. We are 2 days away, of course. Argentina are a team that I actually think for some they're sleeping on a bit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know, we're talking about the likes of France. You know, obviously you're hammering home Portugal, and rightly so. What a midfield that is. But Argentina are the holders. They do have the greatest footballer of all time, Lionel Messi, in their ranks, of course, as well. And they could become only the third nation to win back-to-back World Cups. Do you know the other two?
Brazil and Italy. We talked in the pre-production meeting, so yeah.
Yeah, well done. Yes. Yeah, I was trying to make you look good.
58 and 62, I think, was Brazil. And I forget, I want to say 38 and 42 was Italy, somewhere on there.
Oh, look at this guy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Joining us now to talk more about Argentina is the brilliant Jon Cotterill. How you doing, John?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Like I just said,
come on, round of applause.
Come on, John. Come on, John.
I almost forgot. Without Will being here, sometimes I forget.
Thank you. Can I destroy the atmosphere? Let's say there's no World Cup in 1942.
Yes, true.
Oh,
there was
actually
a raging world war.
Yeah,
Stop that.
Something was going on. I don't remember, but yes,
something little.
John, like I just said there, I do feel for some reason there's Argentina are kind of the team where you go, yeah, I think France will be the favourites, Spain will be the favourites, Portugal will be up there. Oh yeah, of course, Argentina, World Cup holders. What's the expectation like, do you think, in Argentina about their chances?
I go down there on a regular basis because I cover the Libertadores, which is the South American equivalent to the Champions League, and also the Sudamericana or Sul-Americana, as it's called in Brazil. I think they're reasonably confident about retaining the title. As you said, they've got Messi, 38. It's going to be 39 during the tournament, so he's cracking on a little bit. Well, I was trying to think back to the last tournament in 2022, what the status of Argentina was. Of course, they're always amongst the favourites, but I don't think they were rank favourites. They were just in that group of teams that are always mentioned to win the competition. But I don't think they were super favourites, and this year is very similar.
When it comes to Messi, we were just talking about that Ronaldo situation with Portugal, which can sometimes, strangely enough, end up being a bit of a headache, I think, at times for Roberto Martinez. What about with Messi? How much of his minutes going to be managed by Lionel Scaloni?
As I said, he's cracking on a little bit now, and he's got that injury or had an injury relatively recently as well. So that's another factor. I think his role has certainly changed. I think now Argentina have players who work around Messi, who work to Messi's strengths. And even in the last World Cup, Messi flitted in and out of the tournament. He wasn't a permanent driving force. He can't be really at that age. So that's what's going to happen now. Players around Messi will be working to his strengths. He'll be slightly on a kind of a lower gauge.
1934, 1938 with Italy. So thanks for that correction. I really do appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure.
Yes, as we know, 1942, there was a lot going on in life, as there is right now.
Yes, something.
Going back to Argentina, though, during this World Cup qualifier, obviously there was stretches in which Messi wasn't playing because of injuries and not participating, and Argentina looked really good. There's some arguing that possibly that maybe they play better without Messi. How would you argue or fare on one side or the other of that debate? Is this team better with Messi, or are they better without him?
Depends on, doesn't it, really, to some extent. It depends on what's happening, the dynamics on the pitch. I think there's always, for whatever side, the big debate, and we had this in England as well, about cramming all the really, really talented players into one starting lineup. Well, you can't do that. What you have to do is got to get the best team which functions together as a whole. And that might mean leaving out star individuals, which is what England and Tuchel have done, really. He's taken out certain players who everyone's saying, oh, they should be in the squad, they should be there. He's decided, well, they're not really the people I want to play the way I want. So that's what you've got to think about. Brazil have the same problem. They have the same problem with Neymar. Esteval was injured as well, but cramming in all these attacking players, it simply doesn't work in the modern game. You've got to get that right kind of balance.
Talk to me about Enzo Fernandez, John. He's had a turbulent time, I think, at Chelsea this season, a very poor season, especially domestically, coming 10th. There was the comments about Madrid, and he got in a bit of trouble for that, had to miss a couple of games. He was young player of the tournament, though, at the last World Cup, which Argentina won. Just how important is he for their success, do you think, at this tournament?
Yeah, he's got his cracking goal, didn't he, which really put him on the world stage, Enzo Fernandez. He's going to be one of the key elements for Argentina, there's no doubt about it. We're going to talk about other players who might have an influence as well for the blue and whites, but he's going to be one of the keys. Depends on the form, doesn't it, really? we never know what's going to happen in these competitions, which players will step up, which players will really have an impact. But he certainly could be one of them. He's got that drive about him. He's got the tenacity which you need in a competition like this. It is also good bags of skill.
When you look at that group too, you've got Algeria, you've got Austria, you've got Jordan. I think when you look at that group, Austria are the biggest threat, but they're under Ralf Rangnick. They play quite an intense, aggressive style. Now, the only thing I would say here is you could look at that and think that's a bit of a threat for Argentina. But actually, the heat is going to make it very difficult, potentially, for Austria to even, play in that kind of way. So actually, when you look at that group, do you think it could be quite comfortable for the Argentines?
It should be, shouldn't it, on paper? Algeria 16th. Ranked in the world, Austria 22nd, Jordan 27th. I mean, you talk about the heat. I think people forget that South America, especially down south in Argentina and Buenos Aires, can get very chilly. As I say, I go down on a regular basis. And right now, well, a couple of weeks ago, it's about 12 degrees C, which isn't fantastically cold, but it can get much colder than that as well. So a lot of players who come up from Argentina are used to cold weather as well as the heat in the summer as well. But yeah, heat's absolutely going to be a factor. Before the World Cup, Argentina, well, they played Honduras. They beat the mighty Honduras by 2-0. They've got Iceland tonight just to get them going. So I think many teams now, they want friendlies against opposition they'll know that they're not really going to struggle against, and they should get an easy win. It's a morale booster. England's games against New Zealand and the one they've got coming up are designed not to really test the squad, but just to get them into the right kind of mood, get the win, just steady the ships.
How do you see this group faring out? And I've been obviously researching a lot in terms of these nations, and the disgrace of Gijon comes up when it comes to Austria and Algeria in 1982. Obviously, the disgrace that was the West Germany Austria match 1-0 in 1982 that now leads us to the final group stage matches, the groups being played at the same time because of the matches being played in a certain way where Algeria eventually was not able to make it out of the group stage. How do you feel the rest of the group? We kind of figure Argentina is going to finish top of this group, but between Austria, Jordan, and Algeria, what does the rest of this group look like?
It's anyone's guess, isn't it, really? You just mentioned the ties being played at the same time. That, of course, stems from the World Cup in Argentina in 1978, when we had that kind of weird system. Argentina played all the games in the evening, and they've rarely traveled. The distances they traveled were very limited compared to someone like Brazil, who were traveling thousands of kilometers in Argentina. And that famous or infamous match against Peru when Argentina knew that they had to win by at least 4 clear goals, and they, 6-0 or something like that, an absolute disgrace to fix. Since then, and it seems so logical nowadays that all the ties, all the important games, the last games are played at the same time. But it was back then in 78, it didn't happen. So Argentina went in knowing that they had to get a certain scoreline because Brazil had played earlier on in the day. But this group, going back to your question, I mean, you look at it, you've got to say Austria maybe with their experience, but Algeria, who knows? Jordan, no, obviously not. No way for them.
Yeah, there's one player I've got to ask you about, Jon. There's one player I have to ask you about, Nico Paz. We've just been talking about players that could win young player of this tournament. He's 21 years old. He has lit up Serie A with Como under Cesc Fabregas. How much of a role do you think he could play in this Argentina team?
Again, it's to be decided, isn't it? It's a lot of press, a lot of words to bring about Nico Paz, and he moved from Real Madrid to Como. He's actually Spanish. He was born in Tenerife, but he decided to go for Argentina, had the chance for them. Big unit as well, 1.85 meters. As you said, only 21, so the potential's there. But it's a lot, isn't it, to ask for a young player to carry a side on his shoulders. But his goal scoring record is very, very good. His assist record is very, very good. He'll bring dynamism. He'll bring confidence, which he's got bags of course. And he's already been attracting a lot of attention. I saw something about him being deemed as a modern number 10, whatever that is. I'm not quite sure. It could be him, could be in anything. But he's got bags of skill. He's got bags of ability. He'll get around a bit. And as I said, he's got that big physical presence as well. So that whole package is in place.
Jon, thank you very much indeed, and thank you for the historical education as well. We were just testing you, but thank you so much. Jon Cotterill there. Brilliant stuff.
That was the S Word, brought to you by talkSPORT on Tubi, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. If you give us 5 stars wherever you're watching the show, it helps more people find it. And tomorrow we're going to be on World Cup Eve.
Come on.
On the cusp.
Come on.
We're almost there. First game on Thursday. This guy's going to be out in LA. We'll be bringing you the show every single day of this World Cup, so keep it locked to the S Word. Yeehaw.
talkSPORT presents the S Word. Listen again and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on the S Word YouTube channel.